Let's see. Let's try to examine things from every angle and make sense of it all. Who am I? When one is as lost as I am, it's always good to start from the beginning. My name is Charles. I'm 64 years old, and my personal wealth is estimated at $35 billion, making me one of the richest, most powerful men in the world. Majority shareholder in Big Brother Media Co., one of the largest media conglomerates on Earth. I'm at the head of an empire through which I elected and relieved presidents of their duties, waged wars and organized peace treaties, empowered talentless idiots, and destroyed men of value who questioned my authority. All of this with a simple phone call. Depressions, suicides, murders, I have more blood on my hands and more wrecked lives than any dictator or president. And yet they must rely on their armed forces. My secret? You. I manipulate 2 billion readers and listeners as I wish every day through my multimedia companies. 2 billion robots who think exactly the way I tell them to, whom I hold in the palm of my hand. There are poor bastards who have to pay whores to have their dicks sucked. Presidents and ministers have to pay to suck mine. What effect does this have on me? What is it like to see a statesman on his knees in front of you, mouth wide open, ready to eat it all up deep down his throat, just because you have the power to transform reality as you see fit? Nothing at all. Not even the slightest shiver. As I've never enjoyed it, I've never felt the slightest remorse, regrets, or qualms. And why would I have felt anything? Why would I have felt the slightest feeling of power? The place I occupy in this world and my actions are in line with the natural and ancestral order of things. The survival of the fittest. Weak and powerful people. It's always been like this, and always will be. I consider myself as the greatest programmer in the world. A programmer of minds and consciences. Yet what I did not suspect is that I was also a product, like everyone else, a product created by my father.
What do you say, Charles?
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome, sweetie.
Wait, Charles.
What for, Daddy? I'm hungry.
Charles, there are things more important than ice cream.
Things more important than ice cream doesn't exist.
What are you, Charles?
What do you mean, what am I?
Think about it.
I'm a boy.
Good. And I, what am I?
You? It's easy. You're my daddy.
No.
But if you're not my daddy, then who are you?
A predator.
A predator?
Yes, a predator. More ferocious than a white shark, more vicious than a crocodile, more powerful than a lion. And all these people around us that you call human beings are prey. And you, my son, I will teach you how to become a predator. And I will give you your first lesson right now. You are a piece of shit. Your wife is nothing but an old whore, and your children two bloody bastards.
What did you say? You mind repeating yourself?
Joe.
Oh, I will repeat myself, don't worry. But before I do, you should know this. My name is Henry Taylor. That ring a bell? Undoubtedly, you've heard of me. If you so much as touch me, I will take you to court and bury you in charges, so that it will take you till the end of your miserable life to see the light of day. I will break you. I recommend you think it over twice before hitting me. You are a piece of shit. Your wife is nothing but an old whore, and your children two bloody bastards. Good, Joe. That's good. You'll go far in life. Enjoy your meal. Waitress, my tab. Well, did you see?
I saw it, Eddie.
And what did you learn?
I don't know.
Men are weak. Never forget that. They are weak, easy to manipulate, and malleable. And they will always find excuses for justifying their weaknesses and cowardice. Why didn't he threaten me back? Because I am more powerful and influential than he is. And the only solution would have been violence. But like any good, self-respecting American, he probably believes in God. And God said that life is sacred and that killing is bad. So, he couldn't bring himself to act, and he buckled. And if he didn't believe in God, maybe he believes in art. And art would give him a sense of beauty, which makes violence horrifying, thereby turning him into a coward. You see, my son, both religion and art are the pillars of civilization. And civilization is just one gigantic industry that produces millions of faithless men and women, dominated by fear and the instinct for survival, that you will learn, in the name of civilization and progress, to control and master, so that one day you will come to realize your wildest dreams, to become even more rich and powerful than I am.
My life would never be the same again after that conversation. I was introduced to a world of power and violence where only the strongest, the smartest, and the most cunning make it out. While my classmates were watching Mickey Mouse, I was studying, analyzing, dissecting hundreds and hundreds of wildlife documentaries on sea, land, and air predators. While they were surfing on weekends, I was watching boxing matches, bullfights, dogfights, cockfights, any shows that featured a sudden and violent death. While they were reading comic books, I was spending hours and hours thinking and discoursing on the four main truths of the world entrusted to me by my Father. God sent his only Son to walk among men, and men crucified him. Jesus died to save mankind from their sins, and mankind has continued to suffer just the same. World peace relies on the fear of the atomic bomb. Hitler was wrong because he lost the war. Had he won, history would have proved him right. A strong man is the one who has the courage to be a bastard. When I was 24, I bought my first newspaper company, the Free Mind News. 10 years later, I owned radio stations, television channels, dozens of newspapers, and became one of the most powerful men in America, and even the world. I anticipated the internet revolution, making me even more powerful. I was successful. Like my father before me, I was at the top of the ladder. In the people's eyes, I was as ferocious as a white shark, as vicious as a crocodile, and as powerful as a lion. Everything was perfect. Things were in their place, running on course, until the memorable day that I met Mindy. And then everything turned upside down. What drew me to her? Her lips. Beautiful, full, luscious, blood-red lips. I told myself that her mouth would be even more beautiful with my dick in it. When she made passes at me, I didn't say no. And I was saying yes to a woman who would change my life.
Charles, we've now been intimate for 2 weeks, and you've only ever come in my mouth. Why don't you ever want to come in my pussy?
Because I love to explore your mouth with my dick and come in your mouth. Or when I explode on your face, I love the way your pupils dilate in mute incomprehension, and as if there were something unnatural. That I should only come in your pussy, as you were taught. I like this image. It reminds me of who I am, and gives me even more pleasure than the ejaculation itself.
Well, it's also good in my pussy, you know.
Pussy is for animals. Have you ever seen a lion-on-lioness money shot? You know what I'd like to do with your pussy? I'd like to transplant your pussy to your forehead and fuck your brains out.
You do what?
I drive deep into your forehead, cunt, and fuck your brain. I'm sure your brain is wetter, warmer, and tighter than your little schoolgirl pussy.
Charles, you are completely nuts. I mean, who would believe that you were one of the most powerful men in the world when you talk like that?
One cannot be adapted to the world and have something to say. Crumb said that.
Charles,
Yes?
will you come in my pussy one day?
No.
Please? But why not? I mean, what is so unsettling about coming in a woman's pussy? Please, in the pussy, just once. The most powerful cock in the world. How I would love to feel it in the warmth of my belly. Just once, just a little.
Stop it, Mindy. You're behaving like a schoolgirl.
You know what I'd like to do? I'd like for you to drive me to Malibu in your black Bentley. We'll cruise along the ocean, foot to the floor, blasting rock and roll. Windows wide open. What do you say? I've always dreamed of it. You want to? It'll be as pleasurable as when you blow your load in my mouth and my pupils dilate.
Really? As good as that?
Cross my heart, hope to die.
You really want to know how I feel?
Mm-hmm.
I feel more of a thrill when I open up the Wall Street Journal in the morning.
Oh, Charles, you're not serious. I mean, come on. When his voice was screaming at the top of their lungs and our voices were mixing with...
Your voice, not mine.
Look. Look. I have goosebumps. Just like when I'm coming.
I wish it could be that way for me. A few days later, I went back on my own with a stack of rock and roll CDs sitting on the front seat. I didn't sing. I didn't feel free, but when I pulled up the sleeves of my jacket, I saw them. Goosebumps. Hundreds of them. They were back. Something was happening in me, and it eluded me. Day after day I returned. It became more than an outing, more than an experiment. It became a quest. And each time, there they were on my forearm, smiling and taunting me, until the day I did something rash. The day that I was overwhelmed by such a strange energy. I stopped on the shoulder, got out of the car, and alone in front of the setting sun, I shouted and shouted with all my heart.
Oh, come on. Cheers. Left hand or right hand?
Right.
They're called Leaves of Grass. They're an amazing band, and I think that you're really gonna like them. The first song talks about you.
Thank you. It's very sweet of you. We'll listen to it the next time we go for a ride.
No, tonight. But first, there's something else.
What is that?
A drug.
A drug. That is what losers take when they can't deal with reality. They prefer running away and drugging themselves. I'll never take it.
Well, I consider it to be a soul revealer, a sensory amplifier. And it's the answer to all of your questions.
A drug to answer all my questions.
It will take you to the other side, where your shout took shape, to the source of your goosebumps. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that what you're looking for? I can't take it for you. It's your decision. Either you stay where you are and continue living the life that you always have, even though it's a lie, or you take the risk of shattering everything that you know to find a truth that has always eluded you.
What truth?
That everything in this world is not about strength, control, power, and domination.
I took the pill and went to the other side. In the beginning, I didn't feel very well. I had some difficulty breathing. I got scared, really scared. I panicked. I'm going to die. I'm going to die, but no, everything is fine. Everything is fine. It'll be all right. Mindy's voice. She was stroking my head, speaking softly to reassure me, and suddenly I felt it. Blazing, burning, radiance like a sun, my solar plexus. It was on fire. It exploded, diffusing a flow of constant warmth. This was so good. All this light inside of me, how I suddenly felt well, light, brimming with energy, euphoric, all around in space. It was extraordinary, magical, unreal. Objects were vibrating, colors were bursting. Mindy, your mouth, it's like a volcano, an erupting volcano, and your hair, your magnificent brown hair, they're so bright. They've never been this bright. It looks like you are carrying the sun on your shoulders. You are so beautiful, Mindy. You're so beautiful. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, the most beautiful woman in the world. She was laughing, 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 and her laugh was flying in the air. What was happening? What was happening to me? I'd never seen the world like this. It seemed to me I was seeing it for the first time. The most insignificant object made me think of something beautiful and fantastic. The lamp looked like a star. The world became a gigantic metaphor, the other side. Was this it? Was I there? A place where we can see within each thing, as common as it is, something else that is linked to it. There's a single atom of reality, as small as it is. It creates a feeling of infinity inside of us. Everything suddenly became so mysterious and vast. My sense of reality exploded. What is reality? Where does it start? Where does it end? And what if there is no end and no beginning? This music, this voice, where are they coming from? Look, do you see them? Butterflies, everywhere. They're everywhere around us. Like the goosebumps on my arms, those are vibrations, darling. Vibrations created by the music. I could feel them all around me, warm and good vibrations. They were stroking me, penetrating me. I feel so good, Mindy, so good. The music is beautiful, so beautiful as you are. Come, let's get naked. We'll better feel the vibrations when naked. I removed my shirt, I removed my pants. I felt the music overwhelming me, coming inside of me, taking me and possessing me. And like when I was in the car, I felt a power inside of me that I couldn't contain anymore, that had become too big for my body and mind. And I started to dance, I started to sing, I started to shout. Shout, Mindy, shout with me. Hey, Mindy, what if we compared our shouts of joy? And I started to shout, I'm on the other side, I'm on the other side. I was bouncing everywhere, and suddenly, nothing. That's all I remembered. And now I'm here, in this bar. 40 years earlier, in my jacket's left pocket there is a tab of ecstasy. In the right one, a revolver. And if I cannot explain anything, if everything seems so confusing to me, now I remember. Everything is clear. The reason why I am here and what I have to do.
Crazy on me.
I have to talk to you. I have things to tell you. Important things.
Can't this wait? I'm with my friends.
Charles, the more important things are having drinks with friends.
If you had the opportunity to go back in time, what would you say to yourself? The dates the market crashed? To buy low and sell high? Not to marry your own wife? I would have liked it to be so easy. I was there to convince myself that all the knowledge of life I firmly believed in was wrong, and that the decision to buy the Free Mind News, which would make me one of the richest and most powerful men in the country, was a mistake. I told him everything.
It was as if a black curtain had blinded me to the world, and Mindy pulled it away. I fell into a purely sensory vision of the world, and the whole world became one gigantic poem. My vision of the world shattered. And in the rubble, I saw elements of truth that had always escaped me. The world is beautiful, Charles. It is incredibly beautiful. It is a permanent miracle. And I finally understood the idea that all great men should know. It's not to own and control the world, but to become as beautiful as the world.
He listened to me without saying a word. We were speaking the same language, but I knew he didn't understand me. You have to fully live certain things in order to understand them. I took the pill of ecstasy out of my pocket and put it on the table in front of him.
Take it and listen to some music. The Stooges' 1969 just came out. You shouldn't have any trouble finding it. I listened to it when I was driving along the ocean with Mindy. It talks about how time slips away from you and how urgent it is to become time conscious. You know, Charles, all the money, all the newspapers, all the power that you'll have won't prevent time from slipping through your fingers. You have to become time conscious. Buy a boat, a small sailboat, and let the wind carry you away. That will put into words much more clearly what I'm trying to make you understand.
Take the pill, Charles. Do you know the story of the frog and the scorpion? It's one of my favorites. The scorpion wanted to cross a river, but as he could not swim, he asked a frog if she could take him on her back to the other side. The frog, far from being crazy, refused with a big croak. She knew that once the scorpion would climb on her back, he'd sting and kill her. "Don't be sillier than you already are," said the scorpion. "If I sting you while crossing, you will certainly die. But I too will drown, as I cannot swim. Why would I do such a thing? I want to live." "That makes sense," remarked the frog. She let the scorpion hop on her back as his logic was sound. In the middle of the river, she felt a terrible pain overwhelm her body. "Why did you sting me?" asked the frog. "What did you gain? Now we're both going to die." "I know," said the scorpion, "but I couldn't help it. It's in my nature."
Approach your host.
What do you still want from me?
Do you remember the story of the frog and the scorpion? I don't know where I am. I don't know if I'm dead or alive. What I do know is that I killed myself. I did it because people who said no to me never got out of it unharmed, and yes, maybe I have to acknowledge it. I did it to save myself.